Hi, I am Rohit, and today we are going to discuss how we can harness the India's demographic dividend. As we know that India is often described as a bright spot in the global economy with a median age of just 28. We possess the world's largest youth population, a demographic dividend that should in theory catapult us into the rank of the high income nations. But as we know that there is a growing paradox regarding this. While our GDP growth remains among the highest in the world, our employment elasticity, the ability of that the growth to create jobs has remained stubbornly low. We are facing a structural crisis, like million of educated youths entering the workforce every year, yet finding themselves stuck in the waiting room of the informal sector or the total in unemployment. So this isn't just a social issue; it is a ticking economic time bomb, we can say. To understand that where we are, we have to look at where we went. So historically, successful economies like South Korea and China followed a standard path, moving labor from low productivity agriculture to high volume, low skill manufacturing. India skipped a step, as we all know that post 1991 we bypassed mass manufacturing and leaped straight into the high-end services like IT and finance. This service-led growth created an immense wealth, no doubt about it, but it only benefited a small, highly skilled segment of the population. Today, nearly 45% of our workforce is still tied to agriculture, contributing only 15% of our national GDP. The missing middle, mass manufacturing, has left a void where millions of jobs should have been given. Uh, why we can't just hire our way out of this? So, two primary barriers are there, which is standing in between. First is the skill mismatch issue. The recent report suggests that nearly half of the India's graduate are not employable by industry standards. Our education systems rewards rote learning over vocational competence. And second is the regulatory fiction. Small and medium enterprises, the true backbone of job creation, often stay small to avoid the complex labor laws and Inspector Raj era bureaucracies. So this result in a missing middle of firms that are too small to innovate and too informal to provide job security. So we are trapped in a cycle of jobless growth where capital intensive industries thrive, but labor intensive often struggle to scale. So fixing this require more than just slogans. It requires a surgical policy shift. So we can divide the whole policy shift into three terms. Let's say short, middle, and long. When we talking about the short term, which is generally 1 to 2 years, we are saying that we must expand the production linked incentives (PLI) schemes beyond the electronics to hyper labor intensive sectors like textiles, leather, and toy manufacturing. When we're talking about the medium one, which is between 3 to 5 years, a radical overhaul of the apprenticeship model. We need a dual education system model after Germany, where students spend 50% of their time in a classroom and 50% on a factory floor. And when we are saying that we are seeing this as a long term, which is around 10 years or more, it's uh, tell about how the continuing investment in the Gati Shakti, like National Master Plan, is required. By slashing logistic costs from 14 to 8% of GDP, India we can make Indian manufacturing globally competitive, naturally pulling the labor out of disguised employment in rural areas. So at the end, the conclusion would be for regarding this issue is that the window for our demographic dividend will begin to close by 2040 as our population begin to age. We have less than 2 decades to get this right. Economic growth is meaningless if it is not inclusive. So by bridging the gap between our classroom and our boardrooms, and by reviving the Made in India slogan spirit for the masses, we can turn this challenge into our greatest strength. The clock is ticking, let's get to work.